So it is my job to make sure you're okay. So yeah, this might be slightly unprofessional, but it's the only way that I can see that you're getting over whatever's eating at you. So we're gonna do an exercise. It's time for the soul gazing exercise. Monica and Matt face each other. Good. That wasn't so hard. Now get closer.
Come on, Kuya. Come on, Kuya.
Okay. Monica, why does Matt aggravate you?
You know, he always interrupts me in the podcast, keeps trying to jump forward in the timeline, and I just can't get my word in edgewise.
Okay. And Matt, why does Monica aggravate you?
Why'd you give up the Marvel's Avengers game?
Something you and the Reddit boards will never understand is that I did what I thought was right.
But if I was wrong about that game, that means I was wrong about me.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Maganda Forever podcast. I'm Monica.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Vince.
And this week we will be discussing the second episode. Nice.
Ooh, damn.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Dude, that's clean.
Yeah, dude, I love this shit.
Where'd you get that?
Amazon yet again, dude, with their freaking 2-minute delivery. Like as soon as I click oh, it's outside.
Jeff Bezos, dude, just making a killing off of you.
He's like, did you say large or medium? He just stuffs it into a shirt cannon.
Jeff Bezos, dude.
Right into your window.
Stupid.
Oh my God, this episode, dude. I don't know. I had some mixed feelings about it, but I'll let
really,
you guys...
dude.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. I feel like this is kind of in the same line as WandaVision for me, like where each episode just is like my favorite episode.
Except for WandaVision, you said it was like, huh, okay, oh.
Yeah. Now it's like,
WandaVision
keeps getting better.
Huh? Oh.
That's gross.
I'm gonna edit this out. 30 minutes of laughing again.
I'm gonna have to start a drinking game every time you say that stupid line.
Which there's so many.
So many, dude. So many hits. So many good ones, dude.
Anyway, yeah, so should we go into the recap first, and then I guess we could give our reactions along the way, because one of my mixed feelings was towards the beginning, so I guess I could just throw that in real quick.
Yeah. But, so just real quick before we go into the rundown, I just wanted to call out that one of our predictions, or kind of like what we were interested in seeing if Marvel would go this direction, was like race issues. So there's a lot about race issues in here, and I kind of glad that they're going into it.
Thank you.
So this episode starts with kind of highlighting the new Captain America, John Walker, and he's in his high school locker room, football locker room. And he's kind of having a heart-to-heart. I don't know his love interest from the comics, but he's having so he has a heart-to-heart with his love interest.
Otherwise it would have been in slow-mo.
Oh God, let's not go there again. It's gonna take 2 more hours.
Just taking off the name tag in slow motion.
That zipper scene was Zack Snyder-ish, dude. It was like,
yeah. The guy whose locker that belongs to now is gonna be like, what the But anyways, so he's staring at the new Cap suit, which is different from the one from the announcement in the previous episode. It's more kind of like mission ready. But
I noticed.
I don't know about that. They did definitely like it. Obviously they have the U.S. agent flag across the chest.
Yeah.
It's not just a star, it's the flag. And then the A is a mix of an A and a star.
Yeah. But then he has like the straps and stuff, and I don't know, it looked different from when he like went out for that one announcement with the end of the last episode. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so he's just staring at it, hasn't suited up yet, and he's just having mixed feelings about like all of the press conferences he's been doing, and like if he can live up to the mantle of being the new Captain America. And it's kind of like trying to humanize him by showing him with his support system. So it shows him with his love interest from, I'm assuming, high school, because they're reminiscing about their time there. And then with his partner, who we find out later is Lamar Hoskins, who's Battlestar from
Galactica, dude. I'm a shit.
Wasn't there a character in Deadpool something star? Isn't that some
Shatterstar?
Oh, Shatterstar. Okay. Nothing correlation, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So we find out later that it's Battlestar. And they're just kind of like, you got this, like you'll be fine, whatever. I really love the music during the credits because like it's just all of that pep rally music stuff.
It's Black College Star Spangled Man.
Yeah.
That was
regular college. You don't have to say black. You don't have to say black.
No, I mean, where the bands. I'm gonna see myself out. I already fucked up.
Yeah, so it had Nick Cannon playing drumline. Hit him with the bumblebee.
Columbus Short was in there like Mew Gamma. Killing it, stomping the yard.
But yeah,
I did like that scene though.
Yeah, I like the transition.
One of the greatest lines of that episode where he was like, "This suit comes with a lot of like responsibilities or like expectations or something like that." And it's basically setting up the fact that John Walker, like we assume because he's taken Steve's spot that he's going to be like some prick who definitely doesn't deserve it. But you can tell in his heart, he wants to do good for both that suit and for Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And like very like hesitant. He's unsure of himself, insecure, which I wasn't expecting. I really thought they were going to.
Dude.
Well, that's why I said that they're humanizing him.
Underestimating Marvel. Like I thought with like how many episodes we have, they were gonna have to go into how evil and like how contradictory he would have been to Steve, because obviously that shield, I don't think that shield's gonna stay with him. So I thought they're gonna delve into it right away, but again, they're taking their time. They're showing him as a human character, which is awesome. He's dynamic. I actually was rooting for him this episode, which I didn't expect.
Dude,
well, yeah, that's what I was. Sorry,
go ahead, Monica.
That's what I was saying about how they're humanizing him by showing him with his support base, because it shows his doubts in that locker room scene with like, what did I do to deserve this kind of thing? And like his best friend Lamar is saying like, it's just part of the job. Everything that you're doing is a part of the job. It's not just the missions, it's also the press tours and like talking to people and boosting morale. It's basically he's doing kind of what Steve had to do in the very beginning before they sent him out on missions as well.
Yeah. A lot of parallel.
Whatever is another bullet in your best guy's gun.
Yeah.
And going along with what you were saying earlier, Matt, is like one thing I really like what Marvel does is they humanize kind of some of the bad guys or the people who you kind of set up. They already said that he's going to be possibly evil and stuff like that, but like you empathize with their story and stuff like that. And after that scene of him getting ready in the locker room, we see him meeting the crowd. We see him doing an interview with someone from Good Morning America.
Good Morning, Captain America.
Yeah. And then they kind of go into his backstory, and
that was great.
It makes you feel for him because he is a well-decorated soldier.
Yes. And I love
so
that
he has that.
They go over his accolades, and for a second I was like, oh shit, maybe he is the best man for the job. And from his own, and he was playing it off like, oh shucks, what am I, I'm just here, like I didn't ever thought I'd get this job, but he was actually genuine in it. So like it made me like doubt my preconceptions going in about John Walker, because not only does he have that, oh shucks, like I'm just doing a job, like I am not trying to replace Steve. But then they go over his accolades, like he was the only person in U.S. history to get 3 Medal of Honors.
Yeah.
His body was studied by MIT because I guess he's some sort of physical specimen. Well, and then it shows him using Cap's shield so badassly. Like
that was dope.
That was dope. He was hitting.
That was dope training.
He was hitting the targets, catching the shield, and keep in mind, he doesn't have any, well, we find out later, he doesn't have any serum in him. It's just, he's peak
He says
human.
it in an interview.
That's what was interesting about the tidbit about like MIT studied your body, because he doesn't have any super strength. And though they highlighted that point as he was throwing the shield. Mm-hmm. So they're saying like, oh, he doesn't have any of these abilities, but he's still wielding the shield, like kind of, it looks effortlessly.
Studied physically.
Yeah.
He still merits being studied. So that was pretty badass too.
So it kind of makes sense why he would be a good candidate. And so I thought that was a cool aspect, because you know, you feel for his story, and like you said, he's kind of being humble about it, but we'll see how that all turns out.
Dude, I'm amped. Like, I'm rooting for John Walker. It's crazy. At one point, I was like, "Oh, come on, give him a chance." Like when Bucky and Falcon were being kind of dismissive to him, I'm like, "Damn, maybe give him a chance, guys."
But I'm still on the fence.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Next, after we see the new highlights with John at that pep rally, basically at his alma mater. Is it alma mater if it's your high school? Okay. It cuts to Sam looking at a poster of him and kind of like shaking his head and meeting up to go basically hunt down the Flag Smashers. And he got the connection from oh my gosh, what is this? From Taurus. And then I like how Bucky just walks into the
exactly. That's one of the things
I didn't like.
That's one of the things I had a problem with. He just came in like, oh, this motherfucker wasn't the Winter Soldier a while ago. Like, I know he has a pardon, but he's still dangerous, guys.
They just
Sam's hey, like, "What's up, Bucky? I'm just going to disclose a bunch of confidential information that."
When Sam meets up with Taurus, he's like, "Thanks for doing this last minute." I assume like he's talking about the plane and like getting him access. Meanwhile, Bucky just walks on like
too easy.
And I feel that's one of the problems I had a problem with because that's one of the things I had a problem with because I thought their meetup would have been more meaningful, not just him walking into a hangar and be like, "Hey, why'd you give up the shield? Why'd you give up the shield?"
Yeah, that's one of the things I wrote down too. One of my dislikes.
I thought it would be more meaningful. I did enjoy that their banter is pretty much the same as from the movies. Like they still have the charisma between them.
That I did like. It's almost like their cattiness endured from Civil War.
Yeah,
like it never stopped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That part was nice to see. It was kind of weird the immediate transition into, "Oh, hey, Bucky's here. What's up, Bucky?"
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, compared to the other transitions they've been doing.
Yeah, sure. You know, I'm working with the Air Force, but okay, yeah, you can definitely know all this confidential information, even though I'm also a contractor who doesn't have much privilege anyway. So yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. But that was my only weird. That's the only thing I had problems with throughout the whole episode.
Yeah, I think both of them were just venting their frustrations because, like, you know, Sam didn't expect to be taken advantage of, and Bucky wasn't expecting to see that shield on anyone else, especially after being there when Steve handed it to Sam. So I'm sure that
even while the John Walker was doing his interview, you see Bucky watching that whole thing, and then he's still kind of isolated. He still has no furniture, kind of, and then he's that's when you see him going to meet Sam, which apparently it's just like in his backyard or something. Like he was just able to track him down. Yeah, but I did like their banter about like it's one of the big three. The big three, dude. That was so funny. So
androids, aliens, or wizards. As a sorcerer.
Sorcerer without a hat. And then when he mentioned that he read or he knows Gandalf because he read it in 1937. That was good. That was good banter.
Yeah. And then we saw them go on a mission, and then I was expecting Bucky to just jump out of the plane. I wasn't that surprised when he did it.
I was hoping someone was gonna be like, was he wearing a chute? No.
Dude,
yeah, that could have been a good callback.
Did he have one arm? Yeah, he did. Tell me why he came dressed his sleeve though. Tell me why he came mission ready though. That vest totally looked like his costume, like normal costume. That vest. I'm like, okay, Bucky is ready for some action.
Yeah.
And he totally jumped. It was kind of funny though, like him trying to be like Cap jumping out without a
I was gonna say that.
And then he just hit a bunch of trees.
And then Sam's like, Red Wing caught that whole thing on camera.
He's like, get it out of my face before I destroy it. I thought it was interesting. Every time Sam talks about Red Wing, it's like a person. Like I thought it's just his little
they kind of share thing. Like that connection. It seems I don't know. Yeah.
So we find out that the Flag Smashers are like hauling something, and there's this big old chase. Oh, it was medicine.
Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Hey, it's only one shot. We gotta get this.
Yeah, gotta get it out, dude.
So they're hauling medicine out. And there's this big old chase. They think that they have a hostage, and it turns out that it's not a hostage. It's actually the leader of the Flag Smashers. And there's the fight that we saw from the trailers, where they're on top of two trucks. But
So
what we
good.
didn't see in the trailers was that John Walker and Lamar actually drop in and also join the fight.
It's Black Battlestar.
It's just Battlestar.
Oh, my bad. Damn, I'm gonna leave.
I really liked that scene though.
It was
the fighting
great.
was hella good, and I really liked when kind of
exactly
just
what you're gonna say.
how Falcon like can stop right away, and then like he sees the car,
his
like
flying is his flying.
it
is
was
super
so
crisp.
nice.
I love to see his flying in action. It's one of my favorite things that from the show so far.
I like that, and of course, when he threw the shield to save his friend,
and then
when he fell.
Oh yeah, when he fell.
That was when he fell. Yeah.
When he fell,
he like saved him. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really dope. But you can see how like even though Bucky is also pretty much a super soldier, he can't really handle all those super soldiers by himself.
Right. When you have multiple super soldiers who are equally, if not better, trained. And then again, I'm not sure if they actually said they were soldiers. I'm not sure if they're just resistance fighters or soldiers, but there were multiple of them. So yeah, he's gonna.
They said later in the episode that like they were all super soldiers. Like they all had the strength.
They're all super, but they're not. Are they soldiers? Like we're just regular people who
like trained already.
Yeah. Well, because it looked like Carly Morgenthau, the leader. She just looks like a kid, pretty much. Like she doesn't look like she had been trained to fight or anything. She's just strong.
Yeah.
So when they're fighting, there's some corniness where like John Walker, when he like catches his friend and he's like, yeah,
do that little,
yeah.
The little sidekick high five. That was so good. I love it.
But they made a point when they did the introductions later that he's not a sidekick, he's his partner, which I mean, like, I hope Marvel's not following that trend, but it's hard not to notice that they have so many like Iron Man and his partner. And then like these two, and then
Black counterpart.
Well, even Captain Marvel, right? Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like following a trend, which it's hard not to follow that trend when it's in the comics. Like in the comics, when John Walker was Captain America, his sidekick or like partner was Battlestar.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and you can kind of see it's kind of like Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're trying to not get into that whole dynamic too, where like he's the sidekick of Winter Soldier. It's kind of like now that they don't have Steve, they both don't have anybody to kind of listen to. So they're both trying to kind of one up each other.
Yeah.
So that's the dynamic that they're kind of working on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what makes it workable. They're both sidekicks who are vying for the top sidekick spot. None of them are trying to be the hero. They're just trying to be the best sidekick.
All of them within their own rights can, like, they're all heroes. So, but they just keep getting relegated into the sidekick spot because another person has a bigger story arc.
Yeah.
So, but anyways,
so that fight scene was dope.
Yeah, my favorite part was when John Walker threw the shield, hit the guy, and it went past Bucky, and he grabbed it.
and he caught it.
Yeah, that was
and
dope.
He was looking at it for a second. I was like, oh my god.
Which was kind of
it
reminded me of in Winter Soldier when Cap threw it, and then that's when we first kind of got introduced to him. Yeah.
He caught it.
Oh, we also saw in that fight scene, we saw the classic Captain America with a shield and a gun.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah. That was a good nod.
And that was a good move when he was just like pop.
Which is cool because it was a nod to the first Captain America movie, but then also in the comics, Bucky's more of a more of a gunsman.
And I can't remember if it was before the fight scene or after they talk in the truck with John and Lamar. But there's at one point in this episode where Bucky's like, let's take it. Let's just take the shield. Let's do it right, the two of us. And then Sam shares what actually happened. Like Sharon was made like not enemy of the state. She was she?
Enemy of the state,
enemy of the state. And then like
Will Smith.
They're in hiding. So yeah, we actually got to find out what happened to Sharon, and then of course we're gonna see her later in the series. But like they actually talk about the repercussions of taking the shield illegally, because during Civil War they actually did smuggle out his equipment.
Yeah, yeah. After the battle scene, or the battle on the rig scene, we see obviously Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're behind because Falcon had to kind of save
Bucky.
Winter Soldier, like in the
And you know what's fucked up?
Furious.
Falcon was the one who knocked Bucky off the truck, but then Falcon comes back and is like, "That little girl whooped your ass," and it's like, you knocked him off the truck.
Yeah, so they're behind, and then that's when you see that cool scene with John Walker when he throws the shield, but then also you see how they're both not super soldiers. You know, they're just regular people. So he gets whooped, and then that's when you see the really awkward but funny / like necessary scene where they're four of them. They're in one car, kind of, where they're walking and they're trying to just get on the same page, which was
So-
really cool scene. I like that scene.
And we also find out about the global, what was it? GRC, Global Repatriation Council.
Yeah.
Council is
Yeah.
council.
Council.
So it's basically this organization that was made to help everyone who's coming back from the blip kind of get reacclimated. They're reinstating Social Security,
Health benefits,
Yeah.
legal, immigration status or whatever.
Mhm.
And part of that, I guess, entails making sure that little resistances don't pop up. And so that's why John Walker and Battlestar are trying to put down this Flag Smashers little uprising.
And we find out the way that they were able to track Bucky and Sam was because you know how in episode 1 where Sam keeps saying like every time they work on Red Wing, like something goes wrong. So like the government has had access to his equipment. So they installed a bunch of tracking software and they're like, well, it's government property. And he's like, but I'm a contractor. So, you know, they're keeping
Better not
tabs
look
on
outside and see someone flying around in that thing.
But in that scene too, when John Walker, he's just explaining, and you feel for him again too, because he's saying, you know what, I'm not trying to be Steve. I'm not trying to replace him. I'm trying to be the best that I can be.
Which I thought was fair. Like, damn, they really should,
right?
They were both being a little prejudiced. Like,
yeah,
he is just a dude. And again, you said the man matters, not the symbol. And here we have this guy who has no serum in him fighting super soldiers. So he's almost like he's got that. Like he's putting his body on the line. He doesn't have any superpowers. He could definitely get killed in the line of duty. So I mean, he did have a point. And one thing that I guess rubbed Sam the wrong way was when he said it would help to have Captain America's wingmen with me, which is, I mean, that's too soon to be saying that, man. It's like, damn.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of relegating them back to just the sidekick. Like Sam in his own right is trying to do good work as the Falcon, and Bucky's trying to make amends. So it's just kind of like cutting down their stories, you know? And during the interview, going back to the first scene, John admitted like he had never met Steve. Like I think Steve just got reactivated when he was still like training or something. So he had never interacted directly with him other than stories and stuff. So obviously like everyone knows about Captain America, but like it's a whole different thing, like actually fighting alongside him. So that's why, like, of course they feel bitter about like, who's this guy, you know? So anyway, after they make their way back, Sam is saying like, well, we basically got nothing from them. Like we're kind of back to like square one with trying to find the Flag Smashers. And Bucky reveals like, well, not actually, like I actually have more information. And we see him introduce Sam to Isaiah Bradley, which from the comics is also a Captain America, but was not highly publicized because he came after in Project Rebirth, where they're trying to recreate the super soldier serum that was in Steve Rogers. I think Steve was still alive at this time, but they were just doing like an underground.
No, I don't think he was. Was he still alive? Because it was during the Vietnam War, Korean War era. Like the
No,
60s?
it was still during World War II.
Was
I think Steve got it first, but then they wanted to make more soldiers, so they started, like, America and Russia were both trying to experiment on different I think it's Russia, but they're trying to experiment on different people to try to make more soldiers. And in America, the fucked up place that we are, they experimented on like 300 plus black soldiers because people wouldn't really question what happened to them, and they just like basically were using them as lab mice, like trying to do what they could to create soldiers. And once they found, like, I think it was like 5 or something viable soldiers, they like slaughtered the whole camp and just said that they died in action. And then of those 5 or however many that group was, only Isaiah survived.
Mm.
So he was sent on missions and stuff. And in the show, he says like he actually went to try to kill Bucky when he was the Winter Soldier.
No. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was dropped behind enemy lines because whoever they were sending beforehand never came back.
They all died. Yep.
And then I like this line where he was like, I took half of that arm off or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So
and he grew it back.
Yeah.
Man.
So
that was totally good.
Yeah,
so to the walls. Yeah, man strength.
So sick, dude.
Like, I gotta make Foreman grills for the rest of my life. Bam!
So Bucky asked him, like, there's only 2 of us in the world now. Like, how did they get more? Because Zemo had killed the other ones that were under lock and key, like by Hydra. And he was like, they experimented experimented on me. They sent me to jail for 30 years. So basically, like, the government had like a countless amount of access to his DNA to run how many tests. And in the comics, I think the results of Project Rebirth later like trickle down to Weapon X, right? Because the whole thing with Wolverine was they were trying to recreate the serum still.
Damn, you did some research, huh?
I did.
Good for you.
Wolverine didn't know about him. I think in the comics, Steve eventually knew about him. But I think also in the comics, like eventually it starts taking a toll on his mental and physical capability. So like Isaiah is definitely like less prone to disease and stuff like that, but it messed up with his brain. So I think from what I read, what I researched, by the time Steve actually found out about him and tried to make amends, he was like a child in his adult body.
So interesting.
Yeah.
And this is when the episode takes a pretty clear tonal shift from like in the first episode, it was kind of undertones, racial undertones, like, oh, we can't get a loan. Is it because we're black? They don't flat out say that. It's kind of implied. Their business is struggling again. Small businesses are hit hard, but even worse were small black businesses. But in this episode, they come out and say it, like his whole dialogue with Isaiah Bradley was great. He was like, you think you could just wake up one day and decide to be someone else? And he was like, oh, maybe you can. And he's implying it's because he's white. Like he can definitely just decide to be someone else, and he will get the benefit of the doubt because of the color of his skin. And then Isaiah Bradley reveals that he was being tortured for like 30 years because of the serum in his skin, on top of being black in America. So yeah, that part was really powerful.
Yeah, and
he also said like, your people, of course, of course Bucky says like, oh yeah, Hydra was my people, but as an audience you kind of interpret he's talking about white people.
Yeah,
so that's another example.
Yeah, and Sam asked Bucky after they leave the house, like, why aren't you telling anyone about them? Did Steve know about him? And he was like, no, Isaiah's been through enough. Like, he
said, I didn't tell Steve because he's been through enough.
Oh, I thought it was because Isaiah's been through enough.
He didn't want to tell Steve because he just came back and he didn't want to burden him.
I thought it was the
I took it to mean the other way.
Interesting. Both of you took it the other way. I took it as like Steve came back. He's already dealing with being displaced from time. And then to find out your legacy is experimentation on black people. And that's what America is, not what you have been portraying. Like that would have been a heavy toll on Steve in addition to what else was going on at the time.
So, I can see it both ways. I think it's
kind of like how Steve didn't tell Bucky about, or Steve didn't tell Iron Man. Steve didn't tell Tony about Bucky killing his parents. Bucky the same way didn't tell Steve about the Black Captain America, kind of to protect him.
Okay.
I can see it that way. I don't know why. Yeah, I think just all the tone with Isaiah, like I thought like all the torture he'd been through, like that's what they were referring to.
Yeah.
And then of course, like to really make it super blatant, the whole
doesn't
racial
just stop
stereotypes.
there.
Doesn't stop at Isaiah. They're having an argument, like Sam's like, why didn't you tell anyone? Like, we should have known about this, blah, blah, blah. And so they're obviously like, they're not getting in each other's faces kind of confrontation. They're just like talking loudly and disagreeing in the street. And a police officer comes and asks, like, are you okay, sir? Like, what's going on? And they're asking identification only of Sam, and automatically assuming that like he's harassing Bucky because it's like, a black guy and a black guy and a white guy arguing in the street. And even when they were walking through the neighborhood, like it looked like you see a lot of patrol cars and like a lot of boarded up windows and stuff. So you just, you know what our nation is like right now.
Now, how is it?
I mean,
yeah. So like, and then one thing I took away from that is like it takes Bucky saying, no, don't you know who this is, for them to finally ease up and realize that it's Falcon. And then even then we find out that there's a warrant for Bucky's arrest. And even then the police are apologizing for having to arrest Bucky, even though he has a warrant. Even though he has a warrant for out for his arrest, they're apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, but you missed your session. And then they just cuff him gently. But like they were ready to go. They were pulling their guns out on Sam, who was just arguing, who was just yelling.
Well, even the police officers that had stopped them initially, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, we didn't recognize that you're a Falcon. Another patrol car is coming as backup because they think that they need more force in an altercation, and they're not even getting physical with each other. So
Disney, man, they
really went there, guys.
Me with this.
I know.
I thought they were going to keep it undertones. Damn, they're really impressing me right now.
Dude.
With the,
I liked it.
Relevance, social relevance they're having in their episode, in their universe at large. I mean, I guess it started with Black Panther with the whole with Eric Killmonger's whole plight, like why can't you so they're just expanding on it, and I'm loving it.
So I think the next one, do they skip to Carly or do we follow them directly to the police station? I can't remember.
There may have been a cut in there where it shows their the Flag Smashers taking up residence in some supporter of the local resistance in like his house.
So basically they have kind of like a network of like safe houses where people who aren't blatantly Flag Smashers are strongholds or like safe holds. Like, we made you some dinner, you can stay as long as you need to, we really appreciate what you're standing for, like things were better before or after the blip, and their whole mantra is one nation, one people, right? Or something like that.
It's like one bread, one body.
Oh, and then we see
stupid.
What?
One bread, one body,
one Lord of all.
Which
we bless.
My sound cut out. My headphones.
Is this also the scene where Carly gets a text from an anonymous person?
Oh, that's right. Completely forgot about it.
Yeah. So the anonymous person said, you have something of mine and I'm coming for you, or something along those lines.
It said you took what was mine.
You took what was mine.
So I'm guessing she took serum she wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to be someone else, I guess.
Well, so what Mara was thinking when we were watching this is that it was Power Broker.
They mentioned
that. Yeah.
Okay.
And in the comics, that's how John Walker gets his serum. Power Broker.
I think that's also how Battlestar gets his powers too, is from.
Oh, I didn't know he had powers.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it is Battlestar, not John Walker.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, John Walker gets it too, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she looks panicked, and they all look really young. Like, so they keep saying like one nation, one people. Like, we really believe that things are better when the blip happens. So, they're just on the run constantly. And then it cuts to the jail.
JFP.
Yeah. So it cuts to the jail, and Sam is waiting there, and he sees a therapist, and he's like, oh, thanks for bailing him out. And she said it wasn't me. And you find out that John was the one that waived everything. And he's like, this is the part that made me kind of not like him, because he was like, I'm the one who got you out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it kind of reminded me of The Boys.
Yep.
I
was like that, dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so he was just kind of like, oh, it doesn't make sense to tie them up. I need them, so just like do whatever you need to do and then send them my way. And then it kind of like completely blows out of the water. Like the therapist even said, like, my job is to make sure that you're okay.
What I really liked, I don't know if you guys caught this, but John Walker in passing just basically refers to Bucky as an asset.
Yep.
And that's how they referred to Bucky in Winter Soldier, like we need the asset or prepare the asset. So they're basically reducing him back to what he was when he was just a tool for something. Like we need him because we need help smashing the Flag Smashers.
And that's the reason why
he's basically back to being just a lackey, which is kind of sad because he was making progress in his therapy.
That's why I'm so on the fence with John Walker, because like, yeah, in the beginning, like their whole confrontation, like, yeah, give him a chance. Like he also, like Sam didn't expect them to take the shield and give it to someone else. He wasn't expecting to have that job. So like they could have made some compromise, but just some of the way that he talks to them about stuff like, oh, I need Captain America's wingmen. Like they are heroes in their own right.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like they're opening up, like they're just giving us little by little some of the bad things that are associated with him.
Well, believe me, I was prepared to not like him. I wasn't prepared to like him at first. Yeah. So that's what caught me off guard. But I definitely have my theories of how this is going to play out. Yeah.
So so the therapist goes in to talk to both Sam and to Bucky, just to get
a good scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
To get through. Yeah, to get through like the issues and what's going on. Like
Bucky's like, why'd you stop playing Marvel's Avengers? And then Falcon's like,
but basically in this one scene, like less than a minute, you get the entirety of like why they're so confrontational with each other still, because dude, Sam is like, Sam's like, I didn't know that they were gonna do this, and I did what I thought was right because it didn't feel like it was mine. I thought that like basically paying tribute to his legacy was donating it to the Smithsonian. And then Bucky has that whole line about like, if he was wrong about you being worthy of the shield, then he was wrong about me like being redeemable.
So good. Oh, that line hit me.
He was
hard,
tearing up. Like
he
you could hear
that was great.
In his voice. Oh
dude,
my God.
Great
that
scene
hit.
Yeah.
That scene was hella good.
And then Bucky smashes him in the hand, and Falcon's like, never start with the head. Like, see, you can't feel the next thing.
Anyway,
stupid.
So they have that another confrontation between John and Lamar, where they're like, you know, we just need to like see eye to eye. We need to be able to go in on these Flag Smashers. And like they kind of start sharing intel like, oh, they were super soldiers and stuff like that. But then again, they just can't make ends meet, and they end up walking away.
One of the points of disagreement was that Bucky and Sam don't have rules of engagement. They're kind of outside. Free agents. Yeah. So they don't have a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
Or, So exactly. That's one of and then John, his departing comment was don't like stay the hell out of my way. So already we're starting to see friction, and I'm hoping that I cannot wait for them two to go toe to toe against each other.
And then when he said stay the hell out of my way, like he looked more grisly, like it was darker, like it has that whole like visual.
Yeah, he just got like his tone just switched right away.
Yeah.
So that's just another little thing that they're throwing at us, like, okay, so maybe he's not as good as we all think.
Well, one thing to consider from the comics is that John Walker did start out good. Like he did start out wanting to live up to Steve's example, knowing that he wasn't going to fill the shoes, but trying to fill them nonetheless. And then eventually that kind of takes a toll on him. Cause I mean, obviously how do you live up to Steve Rogers, a great Captain America? And so eventually he starts to lose it. Like he starts breaking down. He kind of, he starts taking like extremely punitive measures against bad guys. Like I guess he like ends up killing someone. And so that's when he starts to go downhill. But he did start out pretty much good and well-intentioned.
I was gonna call back to, and I the name slips me now, but at the end, the post-credit scene for Doctor Strange, like he started off good, and now he's just like drawing a very sharp line between like you misused magic, and now I'm gonna take it from you. So that's what I'm.
So, end of that scene, you see Bucky and Sam kind of walking away. They're both talking to each other like, okay, so we're gonna do this ourselves, but we have to talk to someone first. We have to get someone who knows as much Hydra history as like so we can get as much intel, because obviously when they went to see Isaiah, he won't help. He doesn't want to do with anything with them. So they end up revealing that they're gonna talk to Mephisto, and then
Agatha Harkness is there
the whole time, dude, all along.
Dude, the music,
Agatha was
though.
like, "You thought you were the only person in this universe with powers? I got bigger problems in the Southwest region." And she's like putting together teams. Crazy.
The music in this whole episode, like as soon as they didn't even say his name yet, they're like, "You know who we need to talk to? Oh, don't say it." And the whole thing is like,
yeah,
dude, finding Zemo. They're
finding Zemo, dude.
Did you get Magneto vibes when it showed the chessboard?
With the chess.
Oh
yeah, I did. I definitely got those vibes for sure. So that ends it. So they're trying to find Zemo.
Yeah, well, there's another scene before that, still with Carly, where they get into a plane and one of them was like, "I'll hold them off."
Oh yeah,
an altercation. So like, yeah, there's that third party that I'm assuming is the power broker, but we don't quite know yet.
Yeah. So that ends it. What are your guys' theories? And Matt said you said you had some.
First of all, we get to see Elijah Bradley. I'm assuming that's who that was. Who is
Eli? Yep.
Eli Bradley, who is the Patriot of the Young Avengers. So far we have Cassie Lang, who's introduced first. She's Stature. That's Scott Lang's daughter, who becomes giant woman. I guess her name is Stature. We have Speed and Wiccan. We're gonna have Kate Bishop in Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
We have Elijah Bradley, who's the Patriot. I guess right now all we're missing is Hulkling, and he's a Skrull. So the Skrulls are already here. So maybe we get Hulkling later.
Do you think is that Amadeus Cho or no?
No, I'm just naming the original lineup right now.
Okay. Well, there's a She-Hulk. I mean, she's gonna be older though, so she wouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
She wouldn't be part of the Young Avengers.
No.
But there's also Riri Williams, Ironheart. So they have her.
Did they confirm that she's coming to MCU?
I thought they did, but I can't remember in what project.
So I thought she has like something on Disney Plus.
I read somewhere that America Chavez, I'm not sure, I read up briefly on her, but she's part of the Young Avengers. She's actually already been cast for Multiverse of Madness. She's going to be in there.
Oh, nice.
So they're definitely moving this Young Avengers stealthily. And
and then Marvel Girl, right?
Who's that?
Ms. Marvel.
Or Ms. Marvel, sorry.
That's right, Miss Marvel. I don't think she was originally a part of the Young Avengers, was she?
I don't think she was originally, but she's definitely in there later. They could always like mess with the timeline, you know?
Yeah, so I'm excited for that rollout. Obviously, it's not going to come anytime soon, but the pieces are in place, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
When they come of age, and man, that's going to be great.
Yeah. Yay.
What other theories?
My theory was that, on the fight on the two big rigs, John Walker at the very end, he throws a punch confidently, and then Carly grabs it, does a little arm twist, kind of like how they did to Winter Soldier in the room full of all those Winter Soldiers, and then she like super kicks him off it, and he like falls off. I'm guessing that in order to take these guys down, eventually he's going to get his hands on some serum.
That's what I wrote down. Yep, that was one of my theories.
You're gonna have
to. But I don't think Lamar is going to take it. I think it's just going to be John. And I think it's gonna
he's gonna go crazy.
It's gonna mess with his mind, and then eventually Sam and Bucky are gonna have to take him down, and it's gonna be an epic showdown. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good way to show. Like, I mean, by then he'll probably be desperate to just like squash the rebellion. So any means necessary, I can see.
And I think it's gonna start to mess with his head that he keeps failing. Like, it's like people are expecting so much of me. I need to live up to the Captain America name, and how can I do that if I don't have serum in my blood? So that's gonna be the input. That's gonna be the catalyst for that, and then eventually he's gonna start going down the villainous road.
Do you think they're gonna do the trope of like someone's gonna die to make him be like, I could have saved them?
No, I don't think so. But I've been wrong a lot about my theories.
I totally agree. That's what I wrote down too, and they already somewhat planted the seed, like just in the interview where he's talking about there's a lot of pressure, expectations. He is a regular person, so it's all these little things that he's saying that we can interpret that he needs something else to become those things. So he's gonna try to. I have a feeling they're gonna meet the power broker, and then there's gonna be a scene where like they're destroying all the serums, but then he's just gonna like look at it and like kind of hesitate, and then he's gonna end up taking it.
Yeah.
And then that's how he's gonna get his powers.
I can see that.
He's gonna take the shot and then come back 2 weeks later to get the second shot.
No, remember, it's Johnson and Johnson. It's one shot.
It's one shot, dude.
Right. But then another shot for the Vita rays. So
for in the comics, Battlestar ends up taking the side against John Walker. Do you think they're going to do that in the show as well, where he's going to realize that he's crazy? And
that would be great.
You would have to help stop him. Yeah.
Because so far we've seen like anytime there's a partnership, like they're 110 behind them. Like Falcon was like, this Bucky dude's crazy, but he's your friend, so I'm going to help you find him. Like, so yeah, that'd be interesting.
Do you guys think that Zemo is in the raft?
Oh yeah, he was in a different, because he's not in that glass box anymore with Everett Ross. It looks like he's in a more high security prison.
Do you think we'll see Everett Ross?
I hope so. I think we will.
I hope so too. Yeah. I don't know about this show. Maybe down the line, like there might be some like hint of him, but like he's not going to be actually in the show. Like it might be like his name somewhere.
I hope we get the raft, because I'm definitely down to see more supervillains just locked up, have a cameo.
Dude, yeah.
If we see like Vulture in there, just out of nowhere, just like random cameo, that'd be great.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Oh my god!
But then, do you think if it is the raft, do you think Zemo blipped and then blipped back in there, or like
he's back in prison?
Oh, come on.
Oh, this is a nicer cell.
He's gonna like blip back in, and he's in the cell with Falcon.
Yeah, that'd be cool if it was the raft. And do you guys think, or who do you think is the power broker?
I don't even know. I don't think it's gonna be someone from that we already know. It's gonna be some new player, and it's gonna be the one dealing the serums. How do you guys think the new serum came about? Do you really think it came from Isaiah Bradley's blood, or the Kree blood, or some other new? Because I remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That they were like experimenting with all of that to make a super soldier. Like they threw in like fucking Kree blood, the Extremis, other stuff into one person. Remember, it was like one of the very first few episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's gonna be. That would be cool if it was Isaiah Bradley's blood, and then we kind of get more insight into the Patriot coming to be. But
I think it's gonna be his blood, but also
same.
Also, I'm just curious to know more about Flag Smashers, because they were kind of low in the comics, but like you see them extreme with Torres, where they're like stole a bunch of money from the bank, but then you see also Carly with like medicine, like they're trying to help people that basically their whole gripe is that when people blip back, they're more concerned about the displaced people versus the people who lived through the last 5 years. So you kind of get that impression that the medicine is going towards like not as well-to-do communities that were there the whole time. So, and it's interesting, she's so young, but they said she's the leader of the Flag Smashers. So
was she the leader of just of that group?
They identified her as the leader, I think.
Oh, okay. We are a third of the way through the series, guys.
I know,
dude. So crazy. So crazy.
I did want to ask, because we already talked about Everett. Do you think their access to Zemo is going to be Everett, or do you think Sharon has been since reinstated as an agent? Like, is Sharon going to be the one to like show them into the prison? Or
I don't know. It looks like she has more of boots on the ground role, because what we saw in the trailer, she was going in with a hand to hand. So maybe she's just back to being like foot soldier.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be interesting to see how she comes into the picture. Maybe she's also independently tracking the Flag Smashers.
She's just gonna come and she's gonna be like, "Why'd you give him the Why'd you give him
the shield?" This shit again. Man.
But yeah, I think it's crazy. Like you said, we're already a third of the way there. I feel like next episode is gonna be all action Like, oh, I kind of hope it is. Yeah. I think
I want all therapy.
Closer.
Yeah, I think what do you guys think these 2 episodes, comparing this one to WandaVision? I feel like this one just starts off like,
that's not fair. That's not fair.
I feel like WandaVision had a lot to do in world building because it was so different.
Yeah.
Like it really had to set the stage for like the mindscape of Wanda and what there was to tell. This one, like, you could just pick it up right from the get. Like it makes sense why they had a shorter episode run, because not that they had less of a story to tell, but there's less world building.
I gotta say, I like the first episode of this show better than the second still, just because the second was kind of clunky narratively, like with the whole Bucky's here now. That alone was kind of like that kind of took me aback, but it's still good. I mean, I only liked the first episode by a little bit.
Part of me was wondering if like they just let him walk on base because he has that reputation. Like, is it respect for Steve, or is it just I don't want to mess with this shit? Like,
yeah, it's like we can say something.
He's got the black arm. Nah.
Like 88.
He was just walking like doing the sound.
I like that callback to be like, oh, you left and now you're the White Panther. He's like White Wolf actually.
Hey, we forgot. We didn't touch too much on that warehouse scene. When Bucky kind of goes ahead and he's like, I see them. I'm there. Therefore, I'm way ahead of you. And then we see Falcon out of nowhere. He kind of just like is right there.
Yeah.
So like he's keeping up with Bucky in a way.
Yeah.
He's kind of getting there. He's
like, oh, look at you. You're actually stealthy. And then like all of a sudden he's there and he's like, oh shit.
Again, it's just their dynamic. It's just it picks up right away. And
it's definitely buddy cop.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
it's so good. Really
I like that Sam busts his balls so much. Like you're doing the stare again. According to Red Wing, there are 6. Like
yeah.
I did get confused in that scene when they were like, oh, there's 6 people, and then they're like, there's an 8th in the cargo. It's probably a victim. I was like,
I guess she didn't want to sit in the front. She's just, I'm the leader, so I'm gonna be with the medicine. I don't know. That was definitely story convenient.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna make another Red Wing? Because she broke the shit out of it.
Oh, I swear he's got like 17 in the closet, just like.
This one is blue. Just like. Yeah. This one is silver.
I want the Red Wing or the Red Wing, because like I remember he broke it on Stark's face in Civil War, and no problem. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And the way it works in suit wise is that he doesn't need Red Wing to use boosters, but when it comes back, he definitely has an increase to his boost. So I don't think it's essential, but he definitely is missing a good portion of his abilities when Red Wing isn't.
So he would have extras to.
Yeah.
Okay. It's also his scout. Like we saw him in episode 1 tinkering with it, so he knows the ins and outs of it. Again, they never explicitly said whether or not Stark gave his suit a boost like he did everyone else. Like you were left to assume that he did, but he possibly could have not, and Sam just did all of it.
Damn. So do you think he would have to, let's say he does have a bunch of extras, would he have to individually
it's the government's property, so
take off? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like he would have to individually take out whatever tracking devices.
I don't think he can. I don't think he would be allowed to, because he's still working with the government. Like,
yeah,
still gotta work by their rules.
I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually corrupted it though, to send like false signals or whatever, just to be able to do what he usually has the freedom to do.
He's gonna do what Spider-Man did: take off the training wheel protocols.
No.
Have fun tracking this lamp. Like, Sam, are you at a decathlon right now? Thanks for joining us for yet another episode of Maganda Forever podcast. I'm your co-host, Matt.
I'm Vince.
And I'm Monica.
We will see you on the next episode, everybody. Later.
Late.
According to this, after how many updates and how many backfires, the Avengers game sucks. Thanks, Red Wing.
I'm not Wakandan, but my bionic arm enhanced. Just say the words, I'm activated like a Nazi trance. Catch vibranium to your cranium, wanna glance. Full body cast from a Cyclops optic blast. I doubt you crews prepared for this hit. Catch a glimpse of who I'm with, have you scared of the clip? No heart-shaped herbs or any terrigen myths. I'm taking out your ankles on some anti-carrot.